So before I do a review on my PC, I just want to give a few pointers for some of you that are looking to buy a laptop, be it a gaming laptop, performance laptop, or a laptop that you just want to use for work, for typing, or anything else. So the deal with laptops is that the more performance a laptop is going to have, the more price it's going to be. The more portable you want your laptop to be, the more price it's going to be. So you have to look at price, performance, and how portable your laptop is when you're getting a laptop. Then also the other important thing is you want to look at the processing power. If you're going to do basic tasks like typing and Excel, your workloads, or you're going to be writing stories, a basic laptop is okay. You find a laptop like Intel Inside. That is the basic level entry laptop. You can also have a Core i3. But for more high-end performance that you may need from your laptop, be it gaming, be it software editing, be it video creation, you need a laptop that is got a higher processing power, be it a Core i5 or Core i7. If you're going to look at the Ryzen side, you need a Ryzen 5 or Ryzen 7. And now we've got the Core i9. So the bigger the number on the I, the better the performance, or the bigger the number of the Ryzen, the better the performance. One other thing you want to look at is the graphics processor. For laptops nowadays, if you need a laptop that you're going to use for gaming or for video editing, you need something with a graphics card. That is something that will be able to render your graphics in a faster and much more improved way compared to the CPU. The CPU can do the graphics rendering and everything, but it's gonna be overloaded because the CPU does everything else from the laptop. It monitors the programs, it monitors the internet, it monitors the battery, and you loading another graphic intense program on the CPU is gonna overload it. So it's better getting a laptop with a graphics card. I recommend getting a laptop with an NVIDIA GTX card or Ryzen Radeon graphics card. So these graphic GPUs, which they're called graphic processing units, come in different styles basically. You've got the GTX, you've got the GT, you've got the MX. So for which one you want to use, I recommend that you buy something with a GTX or an MX card. An NVIDIA GTX or an MX card that is probably 2 GB or more. The more video RAM you have, the better processing power your graphics card is going to have. Then for Radeon or AMD, I recommend either a Ryzen GPU with 2 GB or more as well. Then the other thing is your RAM, your random access memory. The bigger your RAM, the better the performance of your laptop, because RAM is random access memory. So basically all your programs run from the RAM. When the computer is starting up, it has to run in the RAM. When you're launching a program, launching a software, launching anything, an app on your laptop, it has to go in the RAM. So the RAM is basically the storage of your memory. That is the short-term memory. Then having a high RAM is better. So you find these days laptops usually have 4 gig RAM, 8 gig RAM, and up to 32 gigabytes of RAM. So the higher RAM you have, the more processes you're able to do, the more software you're able to run in your laptop, the more things basically you're able to do on your PC. The other thing also is storage. So storage, we've got the old hard drives, which are the HDDs, and then we've got the new storage capacity drives, which are the SSDs, the solid state drives. So it's good to have an SSD in your laptop, because SSDs basically run 10 times faster than the ordinary HDDs. But the only downside to it is that SSDs are more expensive than the ordinary hard drives. So if you're gonna spend, or you wanna get 256 gigabytes of SSD, that's gonna cost you almost 450 kwacha. Well, as if you're gonna get a 1 terabyte of HDD, you're gonna only spend about 600 kwacha. So it depends on what you want in your system. But as for me, I prefer having an SSD coupled with an HD. The reason is because you can run your software, that is, if you're going to use Windows or Mac or these free Linux softwares, you can run it on the SSD because the processes of the laptop are going to be faster. But for your storage, you can store that in your HDD. So laptops nowadays come with both slots for an ordinary HDD and also a slot for the SSD. So for the SSD, you've got the ordinary case that is now made into an SSD, and then you've got smaller SSDs which are called M.2s. So it depends on your preference. So I encourage you to get, in as much as you have a hard drive which is an HDD, the ordinary ones, get an SSD. Then the other thing about your laptop is obviously the build. So depending on what you want and how much money you have, it's either you're gonna get a good build or you're gonna get an average build. So for very high-end laptops that are gonna be above $1,000, you can get metallic chassis, glass panels. But for laptops that are on the lower end, that is below $1,000, that is from a price point of 500 to 900, you can get really good bodies, either carbon fiber or aluminium. And the lower you go, you're gonna have to deal with a plastic chassis or plastic body, but that really doesn't affect the performance of your laptop. The main issue that affects the performance of your laptop is whether the heat that is being generated by the CPU and the GPU are being removed from the laptop as quickly as possible. So just an idea of what you need in your laptop. We're gonna go